Henford-on-Bagley, life is a picturesque blend of sprawling meadows, charming thatched cottages, and a close-knit community of friendly neighbours. But beneath the idyllic surface lies a web of tension and a scheme to overhaul everything the community of Henford-on-Bagley stands for, led by one woman, driven by greed and ambition. Meet Lady Evelyn Henford, the heart of this mischievous plan, who inherited the Henford estate. With it came an unrelenting belief in an authority over the village, and indeed Henford's revered Women's Institute, where Lady Evelyn has been the formidable chairwoman for the last 4 decades. A cunning seeker of secrets, she infiltrates the community through schemes of slashing funding to the local farm co-op, raising rent prices for Finchwick town, and meddling in the affairs of her WI cohort to create a growing rift. Her outward appearance of grace and propriety may seem impressive, but it masks a cunning mind focused on preserving her legacy at all costs. The tipping point comes when Lady Henford proposes the controversial Henford Heritage Project, ostensibly to preserve Henford's history, but secretly designed to turn the quaint village into a lucrative tourist hotspot, with her estate as a centerpiece. The project threatens to displace families, disrupt livelihoods, and destroy the peaceful way of life the villagers cherish. In response, the Henford Women's Institute, initially formed as a force for good, becomes a secret alliance led by Finchwick's resident Reverend Hugh Bellamy, determined to challenge Lady Henford's unchecked power. As they unearth secrets from Lady Henford's past, they galvanise the community to take a stand. Friendships are tested, and long-held grudges are aired. Lady Henford, faced with her schemes unravelling and her reputation at stake, must decide whether to cling to her ambition or seek redemption. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel and to a brand new series, creating a save file in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. Now, I imagine this series will extend for many months, as the story of the downfall of Lady Evelyn Henford reveals itself. So I'm starting things off in the map just to give you an idea of what we're planning. I have some interesting characters in mind and some storylines ready to dig into. Now, we're basing this world on the Cotswolds, which I believe partly inspired this EP, and drawing much of the building style from there, so expect to see some thatched cottages, stone terrace houses, and of course larger estates, which is what we're going to start today. We're also going to build everything CC free, which will be a welcome change for me, and I hope much easier for everyone that kind of wants to download any of these builds. But before we get into that, I'll just give you an overview of the initial plans I had. So starting first in Old New Henford, I drew inspiration from the description, which alludes to the lush estates, and what I had in mind for Lady Evelyn Henford was that she comes from an ancestral family who has owned this part of the town for many, many years. So in the centre will be Henford Manor, and then to the left will be the estate itself. So this will house the groundskeeper, who I kind of plan having a small cottage and a really beautiful thriving garden. And then to the right will be Foxwood Farm. Now, I've yet to create the sim for this, but I'd quite like to have a farmhand that also is a stable trainer, and she or he will train the horses that Lady Evelyn's family have owned, and they're very popular in racing. And it also will run as a kind of farm shop as well, to make use of the small business venue lot type that came with the new businesses and hobbies pack. Now over to Bagley Vale. I took inspiration from the lot itself. It looks over the old New Henford world, and I had a small village or hamlet in mind for this, so I imagine there'll be lots of different plots, and I would like to populate some of this lot with a few members from the Henford Women's Institute. Moving on to Finchwick. Now, I love the location of the original pub here, and I've just decided to rename it to the Cloaked Lantern, just to give it a bit of intrigue and mystery. Then moving on to Finchwick Parish Chapel. This will take inspiration from the Life and Death EP, so I want to create a really old chapel with an adjoining cemetery. And next to that, will house the Reverend, who lives there with his 2 very interestingly named cats, and he's quite a big proponent of this storyline, so I'll be really excited to get to building his place. And then I wanted to add an extra bit of retail space for Finchwick, so I created the Thistle and Teapot. This is where Lady Evelyn meets with her WI members and spills the tea, pun intended. Now moving on to the Bramblewood. I pictured this place being the most secluded part of Henford-on-Bagley, so I really wanted to reflect that in the kind of lots that I had in mind. Starting first with the hamlet of Bramblewick. I want to imagine a very old English hamlet that consists of lots of stone cottages and traditional businesses that kind of play host to the tourists that come into this area. And speaking of tourists, I've decided to create a bed and breakfast called the Bramblewood Rest. I imagine this will be run by a couple of Sims, potentially with a pet, and they're renting out a few rooms, maybe above a pub. So we have more than one pub in the area, which is very typical of English countrysides. Above that, this will be a strictly residential strip called Willow Way with cobbled townhouses. I really wanted to make this quite secluded but very residential friendly. And then finally finishing off with Nutglade, which is the most remote lot in this world, and I'm probably going to take some inspiration from Cordelia's secret cottage here and build a really old school cottage, and maybe one of the members will play a key role in this storyline. So this is where we're going to start the series at Henford Manor. I just wanted to say I hope this series will be a collaborative effort, and I welcome all your ideas and suggestions. So let's get into build mode and I can talk through some inspirations. So here we are everyone, tucked away in old New Henford on a 50 by 40 lot, making a start on Henford Manor. I really wanted to achieve a sense of grandeur with this build, so I've decided to pull some references. This is Rainthorpe Hall in Norfolk. It's a 16th century manor house with oodles of character. I absolutely love the comedic amount of chimneys, which obviously makes sense for the time period, seeing as there was no central heating around. And I also love the front entrance with a gravel driveway, so I'm going to try and emulate that. We are quite tight in space on this lot, but I will try and make it work. Now, for this first part, will likely consist of just getting the base of the build down, adding the wallpapers, doors, windows. We'll probably just won't get that very far, but that's the point of the save file, really. So I guess the best thing to do is get started, and let's create Henford Manor. So I figured the most natural starting point would be the front entrance. I've tried to find the equal amount between this lot, but it's slightly uneven, which I kind of makes sense for the inspiration for this build. I did think I want to start with a 4 wide entrance though, and just working from the reference image to the side, so I'll probably keep looking over here and there. Now, I think I will keep it on the medium wall height. I think tall is a little bit too big, and there's actually 3 stories to this house, so I may attempt that, although I think 2 with some roof manipulation might kind of emulate the height of the original build. Now it comes out across here, might do 4, and then a 4 here as well. And then mirror that here. This section on the right of the reference image is probably not going to translate that well in The Sims, as the window placement is kind of awkward, so I might change it up. A nice balance. And then this part here juts out a little bit further, so I might do a 3 and then pull it out. Just get that lovely L shape. Too big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's get rid of 1. Oh, you can see you're missing as well. Thank you very much. See, we potentially might be doing some like landscaping or rising of the terrain, but as I said earlier, this is just going to be the kind of basis of the build for this part, and we'll work from there. But very excited to see how this build turns out. Now, I also have a image reference of the side of this build, so it's something I do want to kind of mirror as well, just to get the basis down, and then we can tweak as we go. Now, it juts out here. Let's do a 4 moment. Also, there's a side entrance here, which I thought would be quite nice actually if they had like a gardener or something, or a farmhand. The farm itself is going to be over here, so I imagine everyone that works for the Henford family will live in close proximity. Now to the back. Let's pull you across. Actually, we might need a little bit more room. Just thinking, is that enough space? Not really. Let's come out another 3. I'll probably regret this now because there'll be so much to finish. See, just did a 4. And then let's mirror this jutting out as well. Is that 2? Yeah, 2 in. 3 across. And maybe just bring you all the way down for now. We can figure out the intricacies of the back. I also really love that they have this like L shape here, which kind of creates a courtyard moment. So potentially might try and do that actually. Let's maybe do a bump out here for a bit of interest. And another one there. Freestyling. Might bring you. I mean, there's so many outhouses in this build. It's kind of incredible the amount of land that the owners of this hall have. And then it gives a nice moment for kind of a central garden here. Do you want to gravel around? I'm wondering if it looks a bit odd because it's so off-center with the nature of the lot. Let's move you around actually. It doesn't have to be perfectly central either. And I'm sure I can still make the front entrance work with some gravel. Now, let's mirror the upstairs, shall we? So I've just mirrored the downstairs with the upstairs. It's looking like a lot of boxes at the moment, but let's add some roofs. I'm sure it'll add a little bit more character. Now, there's a few pitch roofs, and I think we might be able to do some of them, although I think the scale in the Sims might look a little bit odd. So let's pull you up. Might get the flaps in, because it doesn't look like any of these overlap. And create some dimension with some slightly smaller wall heights. Okay, so I've actually added roofs away from camera. I'll just show you what I've done. The reference itself has integrated chimney breasts within the roof, so I've done that through the use of separate roof pieces. I think this is the half gable roof. And yeah, just kind of created some variations in height. I also widened this section here and here as well, and then mirrored, if you remember, we had it just to the right here, so I've pulled it over just so it kind of has a natural meeting with the front. And yeah, kind of happy with how it looks. I think it's hard to imagine without any wallpapers. So I think the next job is to add some chimney breasts, shall we? Now, we do actually have one similar to the reference image. I think these are from the Get to Work pack. Just wondering if they'll look substantial enough. Although I guess we can actually raise up the platforms. Maybe I will use those actually. Let's mirror that here as well. I also like that there's a roof line of chimneys here, so I might try and emulate the same. And there's also a chimney at the back, which you can kind of see from a distance. Nice. Actually, chimneys here, there, and everywhere on this build. Let's add one. Few here, actually. And another one here. Let's get the wallpapers on to make sense of the direction for the doors and windows, shall we? So I'm actually thinking of pulling out a palette from the Castle Estate kit. So give me 5 seconds and I will be right back. Okay, we figured out a plan. I've used, as I mentioned, the Castle Estate Kit stone. I really love that there's like an ombre texture to it, and I was thinking maybe that would work really well for the chimneys as we go from the roof line to the ground floor. And also chosen a few variations of the windows from this pack in this kind of off dirty white shade. I think the white one looks too clean, but let's see when we place the wallpaper around. So I think I'll just add all this to... Do I want the ombre here? Building from a distance to see if I actually like it. I don't know if it looks too dirty in a way, because, you know, this is a manor house, but that's been centuries old. Oh, I quite like that actually, the ombre here. Oh, that came out really nice actually. And I think for the roof tile, they've got a lot of like moss on the real one, so we can actually achieve that with the roof tile that came with the werewolf pack. I don't know whether it'll look great though in different seasons. Let's just get it on for now so I can visualize. It does look kind of nice. But then I'm wondering if we just do kind of a... What's this called? A rustic roof. Maybe in a dark. I think that would look probably more classic. I do love that mossy texture though. It's a shame that they didn't do a variation where it's like not as much moss. Maybe I could do it down here actually, although would that look weird because it doesn't really match with the other ones. I will keep you on there for now. Let's do some roof trim, shall we? Thinking of the stepped roof trim, my favorite. Let's do it in anything darker. I think that's almost too dark. This one, too light. That's right. Nice, we're really getting a sense of the grandeur of the build now. I can already see that it's the wrong color. Maybe in the grey. It's too dark. Which one do we prefer? Let's do this one. Just going to recolor all these and I'll be back in a jiffy. Chimneys have been recolored and nestled in. I am thinking about maybe doing some kind of different chimneys now because it's looking very samey. I'm wondering though what could work in this scenario. I wish we had more like singular chimneys. Let's see what this looks like. It does look nice, doesn't it? Maybe I'll do that in kind of a... not the front part of the build. Ugh, I hate. Down we go. Yeah, just to kind of give a bit of difference so it's not all being built at the same time. Some additions along the way. It's coming together. Now in the front entrance there's an archway, which I believe the castle kit also comes with. Where are you though? Gosh, I am blind. There you are. Thank you very much. And I might do the front entrance inset a little bit here. Change the color though. Would I want a bright white or a more worn one? That is the question. Let's keep the worn one for now. Now, let's place some windows, shall we? I really love these ones from the Castle Estate Kit. Just need to get some spatial awareness though. Are these on the right height? Yeah? Maybe a bit higher. See, I'm pulling back. I'm trying to make sense of the perspective of the build. Let's add it on that height, shall we? Lovely. Maybe just one. And let's do a couple here. I was toying with the idea of doing tall windows at the bottom, which you could still do. Just don't know if it'd look odd. Can we connect them? Oh God, I'm miles away. Let's take the roof down so I know what I'm doing. So I've actually swapped out the medium height windows for the tall ones on the lower level. I think it adds a little bit more sense of sophistication to this build. I think it's looking that there's too many windows though, so I might just send to you. Now this pack also came with some really lovely double height story church windows, so I think I'll try and emulate that for this section of the build. I'm potentially might do a double heighted hall here. And maybe here we'll put some moss on, because in the reference image there's some really odd shaped windows. I don't know if this like will work per se. Now it just looks like too many windows to me. Now let's focus on the central entrance. I'm unsure whether I should do a interesting window here or not, because I don't want to make it look too churchy. And I think that will make it look too churchy. Could just put one, and then maybe this one here. Okay, trims have been added. I've just rejigged some of the windows around. I was unsure whether to manually place these a little bit lower, now looking at the trim interfering. And I think I might do that actually. Looks a little bit too crowded. Come on, please. Now let's move on to this wing. I might just add a couple spaced apart so it's not the exact same spacing as the other one. Maybe I'll create a more of a moment here. That looks ugly. And that looks like a face. Maybe I'll live with it. I'm not liking how this is touching at the top now on reflection, so I might just use the taller windows to add a bit more drama. Or do I separate them? Ugh. Possibilities are endless. Let me work on this and I'll be back in 5 seconds. Windows have been placed and I enjoy how they look now. I think the more arched decorative windows I might reserve for a church build, just to differentiate it. I'm happy with the curb appeal, which is the buzzword that I wanted to achieve, trying to emulate the real life Rainthorpe Hall. Let's get in a front door. There is actually a matching door to the Castle Estate kit, but I'm wondering whether I want this one or let's get you away. I think there's one from Life and Death as well. Here you are. I think the brown doesn't work in this overall build colorway. But then that does match as well, so eek. I kind of like the decorative door here actually. This is giving more church vibes. Should we put you in? Moving the front door in. No, I'll keep that base floor for now. I mean, you can't even see much of it anyway, so. Now, the reference image also has some columns, and I wonder if I can achieve a similar kind of vibe. Yes, for the Castle Estate kit, let's keep within theme. Maybe I'll go for the more worn ones. What are you? I think this might just add a nice bit of detail to this front section. Don't like how it ends at the top here though. Wonder if I can add a trim of some descript. Yeah, more of a moment. Do I want them in the corner? Potentially. So you're not going to show, are you? Sometimes the build does not work in my favour. Yeah, I like that. Adds just the right amount of drama. And also there is some really cool kind of, are they called like weather vanes or something? Weather spears? There's one in a few pots on this kind of tier here, so let's add one in. Please don't fall. Thank you. It's a black. Yeah, the black's fine. The spire adds a bit more drama. Just about. Forgot that we have the roof trims from Life and Death, which could work in our favour, not in the gold though. I like that it's like worn. I don't know if they look too chunky or not, but downsizing them will mean placing them manually, and that could be a potential headache. Slightly clipping in. Let me add them and we'll see if we like them together. I actually do like them on this build. They make it look a lot more kind of scary, more gothic. I'm just wondering whether to get rid of these chimneys or not. Looks a bit like it was overcrowded. Oh gosh, they're bumping around. Yes, this could be like the Henford, what's it called? House, or coat of arms? Coat of arms? The Henford coat of arms. It's been in the family for centuries. Love that a lot. See, thinking up on the spot, thinking of storylines. Let's fill you in. And I think, oh, let's add a door. We're not actually going to go around the entirety of the build in this first part, but maybe let's do this little outhouse side entrance. So I'm going to use the door from the Life and Death pack, I think. It's kind of nice. It doesn't match with the kind of grandeur of the front, and I think that's purposeful. Or maybe like the staff entrance or something. Or the gardener. Maybe put it in that grey shade. We can get to that at a later stage. So to finish things off with this part, I think I might just add a bit of gravel to nestle the build into the world. Let's get the grid on. Now this could be subject to change because I might decide to add some plants or some planters. Definitely want to add some trees in this lot to make it more private. And the real life build itself has a really small half wall entrance, but with a really long entrance that's gated. So I think I'll definitely put like a high gate just so it feels a little bit more private. Should we boost you out? And then put the gravel in there. Let's extend over to here. So we've got some room to play with here, so I'm wondering whether we do like a side access with an outhouse, and I'm sure we'll get some more details in the next part and really kind of visualize how this house will look. And actually I'm going to have a route around the live edit catalog to see if I can find a fence that fits. I did have one in mind, so give me a jiffy and I'll be right back. Okay, I think I have a plan in mind. I've pulled out the fence from Discover University and paired it with this wrought iron fence integrated within some pillars. I just thought it didn't look large enough to be a kind of manor house fence, so at least here I can add some hedgerows and make it look even more private. So let's litter these around, shall we? The good thing about this is it's quite a big piece, so I don't have to go so manually around the build, although I think this might clip. Oh, it doesn't. Well, there we go. And then pop you around here, just using the pillars as the foundational part. Thinking here, actually, I might pull out a wing off this house and build here, so there'll just be a wall, but for now let's add this in. Oh, you can see that clipping. I wonder why the other one didn't clip then. Is it because it was on a different direction? I don't know. I'll use the tool mod, I think, to take that down. And let's grab you. Oh yeah, this is from the Vampires kit. Great kit for building. And the reason why I've added the extra podiums you'll see is because it actually sticks out at the bottom, which is not ideal, but this just does the trick of concealing them perfectly. Also, it's kind of realistic. I guess a wall has all these details in it. And this is the front part of the fence complete. I had to cheat a little bit on the right side because it wasn't so perfectly balanced, but this side was a dream, to be honest with you. So I still need to figure out what to do with this back part here. There's obviously no windows or doors on at the moment, so it's looking like a blank slate, but oh, I wonder if I can go a bit higher. No, I can't. See, my mind's scattered everywhere. But we have a lot of space to work with here, so I'm really excited to see what ideas we can come up with. And as I said earlier, I'm more than open to your suggestions and your feedback. So really want to make this a collaborative project as well. But I'm kind of happy with how things panned out. I think it's looking good, and just how I kind of wanted to achieve the vision. I'm bopping up and down because the Sims 4 camera. I'm not going to rant, this is not going to be my outro. So I'm going to leave things on this shot in this moody afternoon lighting. I'm really happy with the progress we made, but I probably will go away from camera just to add a few more details here and there. In the next part, I'll introduce you to Lady Henford and her cute pet beagle, alongside a mysterious butler and young maid in her service. In terms of the build itself, we'll likely focus more on the details of the front exterior and maybe make sense of that side entrance I mentioned from earlier. I hope you're enjoying the start of this series, I know I am. If you are, please show the channel some love by liking and subscribing if you so wish, and you can also follow me over on Blue Sky under Curio Sims. I'll see you in the next part. Goodbye.